So I guess we've all heard the phrase that basically states that the camera doesn't matter and it is all about the photographer, and that a cheap camera can do amazing stuff. And we will find that out today by driving it to the absolute max by ordering the cheapest camera that I can find on Amazon. And this is a little bit of an experiment. I want to see what I can do with it. I want to challenge myself to get creative, make the most of this cheap camera that I'm about to order. So let's head on over to Amazon, to my computer, and order the cheapest camera that I can find there. Okay, so look at what I found. This camera, it only costs around $6 and it supposedly comes with a tripod as well, which is an amazing deal. It says kids camera. I don't know if this is good or bad. We will find out, I guess. So I'm about to order this now and I wait until it arrives and then we will see what we will get. I'm very, very excited for that somehow. And yeah, let's order it. Okay, so the camera has just arrived. We have it right here. Let's unpack this thing now here. Let's see what we got. Here's the packaging. I mean, it says camera on it, so let's take a look inside. So here's the tripod thingy. I mean, it is a tripod. Well, it feels super cheap. Obviously, it costs like $6. But it is a tripod. And here is the camera itself. I mean, it says children camera on it, but that doesn't have to be bad. We will have to see this. Here's the camera, you can see it. So, can I activate it? Yeah, well, it activates. It has a screen. It has a lens. It says battery low. We have to charge it, obviously. But it deactivates all the time. I guess it's because of the low battery. So I will charge it now. And then we will see what this thing can do. Yeah, so after charging this thing up and putting a micro SD card inside it, I faced the first problem because when I took a photo, I could not transfer the photo to my Mac because, yeah, the SD card was recognized, but there was a bunch of weird folders on, but no images at all. And I tried around a little bit and I found the only way I got it to work is by plugging in the whole camera into my Windows computer, and then I could find the photos and transfer it to the computer. And after figuring that out, I headed outside into nature and tried the thing out, and it is clear that the image quality will be very poor with this camera. No doubt about that, because we have a extremely small sensor, we have very bad low light performance, we have really low dynamic range. All that combined makes this camera for a very, very poor camera, honestly. So I definitely could not take epic looking landscape photos with this thing, and I could imagine using this camera, for getting like this kind of early 2000s nostalgic retro looking photos, maybe some street photography. But today I decided for something else. I headed out into nature because we have the autumn season right now and the colors were beautiful, and I want to try and shoot some very abstract photography with that. But what I mean by that you will see in a second. First up, we need to find a location where you can really shoot something like that, and then I will tell you more about that in a second. Okay, so I've headed out now to the woods and see if I can take nature and landscape pictures with this camera. And to be honest, I don't have high expectations into this camera because I just checked and you cannot change the settings at all. You can't even change the things like the ISO, which is also somewhat to be expected with a kid's toy like that. However, we have to see what we're gonna do. I have some ideas what we could do with it. The image quality surely is very, very poorly with this camera. However, I think we can still take some nice looking photos if we stop thinking about getting super sharp and high quality images. For example, I always had the idea of using basically a slow shutter speed, which you can also not set up on this camera, but more on that in a second, and then basically move the camera intentionally so you basically blur out everything, and then you have something that looks more or less like a painting. And I will show you a few example pictures here now. And I want to try this out with this camera because we have the autumn season right now. Actually, it's quite late. We have the middle of November, but still some leaves in the trees and some beautiful colors on the ground especially. And I want to see if I can get something. But first of all, we need to find trees which still have leaves on them and still have colors in the leaves.
and then we can try out and shoot it. And if I find something like that, we will see. I will now go on and let's see what I can do with this camera here. So honestly, I think the weather is actually quite beautiful for photography today. I mean, we have it a little bit overcasted, but the clouds are very low, so it is more or less hazy here at the ground, a little bit at least. And then we have the sun coming up once in a while, so we have a very nice contrast, even though we don't have exactly the early morning hours right now. It's more or less like midday. So this is actually quite cool, and I hope we'll get some nice results. If I would shoot with my real camera more, I guess we could take amazing pictures today. I will most likely shoot a few with my camera as well, because I have it with me to take videos right now. However, I want to see what I can do. I think we found a location here, which honestly looks quite promising. We have this super, slim trees here, these small trees, which still have a lot of leaves on them, or quite a lot of leaves. And so I want to try this out now, and then I will show you the results so you will know better what exactly I mean with that. And I hope it works out with the super cheap plastic camera, because it's really bright, so the shutter speed, which will be set automatically, will be very fast. And we want to get this blur so we can get this paint-like look in the photos. Let's see if it works out. So honestly, it's quite hard to get the timing right, because the camera is really unpredictable. When you press the shutter button, the shutter did not release instantly. It will take like a few milliseconds. Yeah, it's really hard to predict when the shutter really releases. So yeah, the results are not guaranteed here to turn out good. Again, the camera costs $5. However, you got a display with it, so you can check the results, which is not exactly precise, the display. However, you get the overview on what you shot there. So yeah, I will go on now and try to find some more locations where I can try this out. And honestly, again, this camera costs $5, and you even got two cameras, because you have a front-facing camera as well, which is even worse than the main camera. I will not even try this one out today. However, yeah, it's quite a fun little experiment here, so let's go on now and see if we can find something else to take here, and then I will head home and see what I got. So stay tuned for that, and let's go on now. So back at home now, and you've seen the photos, and what I want to say here is that when I researched this topic and this, highly stylized and abstract photography, there is basically a whole rabbit hole, and a lot of people who do this a lot better than me. And you've seen also some photos where I used my regular camera. I think the effect in itself is quite cool, and it was a lot of fun shooting this. However, as I said, there are people out there who will do this in much more serious ways, and the photos will turn out much more beautiful than my photos today. But now let's talk about the cheap camera, the $6 camera. And I have to say, it's a little bit disappointing, because it says 40 megapixel on the package. Obviously, we all know that the quality will be bad with a product like that. However, when you see the pictures in itself, it's not even close. You can basically see the pixels from 10 meters away. So yeah, it's more or less like a Minecraft pixel art than a real photography. However, I think this adds up to the narrative of this video, where I wanted to try out this abstract photography, and it is quite abstract. The pictures where I did not check the camera, or I did not move the camera, they are somewhat sharp. However, as I said, the quality is so poor that it's really not enjoyable to look at photos like these. It's interesting, again, it's a fun little experiment here. Maybe sometime in the future I will use this camera for something else and try it out again. But what I want to say here, and that one should be obvious, is that you should not buy a camera like this. Obviously not from Amazon, but it's even worse to buy something like that, for example, from the TikTok shop. They will try to sell you stuff like that for an insane amount of money and call it a retro vibe camera or something like that. And if you want to get, for example, a camera for your kids who are very small and just want to try it out, get something a little bit better. Get something where you can maybe change some settings, because it's just way more enjoyable for the kids itself, I feel like. And you can learn a little bit more if you get a feeling for it. If you can change, for example, the ISO or the shutter speed, you will learn basically the basics of photography with that from a very young age. And this is not possible with this camera. And again, it's just not so enjoyable using this thing. So I would not recommend getting one of these. Again, $6, you will not lose much if you buy it, but yeah, that's just my opinion here. So with that said, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you liked the video. Let me know that in the comments below. And if you want to, you can take a closer look at my channel. I have a ton of other photography related topics as well, so feel free to check them out. But for now, I wish you a great day and I wish you a great week, and I hope I see you in next week's video. So see you then and goodbye.